and somebody had a head this size with gigantic feet. So, and the picture that I was copying from was quite nice, but I just didn't have the eyes to see because I was so contaminated. So Prabhupada came down through the side door, near where the altar is in the back of the temple, and so he looked at the picture, and everybody was surrounding him, and he could have said how terrible it is, but instead he said Krishna has sent, as though Krishna, God himself, who breathes in and out innumerable universes, has sent me to the Krishna consciousness movement. And then he invited me to paint in his quarters. So then I started painting in the room next to him, in the room where the devotees would cook the Sunday feast, in the room where Srila Prabhupada would do his own private offering of, not private, the devotees were always there, but in his apartment, he would offer the bhoga on one plate on this oval-shaped, this height altar with gladiola vases of gladiola flowers all around him. So again, he looked like he was in a flowering forest. So he would make the offering, and then all the pots would be brought down to the temple room downstairs, and then they would put out the mats. And so I was painting up there, and every day, at some time or another, Prabhupada would come in and sit next to me or sit behind me in this way that, that Indians sit like this. He would be like that. And he would tell me different things, like to paint Krishna's... when I was painting, the next painting he gave me was, I forget whether it was Panchatattva or Radha and Krishna. But when I was painting the Radha and Krishna, this is like now December of '66, he would tell me to make Krishna's hands red. And the picture was so bad. I think you've seen it. I think it's still there. Is it still there in the 26 Second Avenue Temple? You could tell because the whole forest looks like just psychedelic greenish yellow with kind of like weird designs that are supposed to be kadamba leaves. Is it there?
I think so.
Okay. And then when I was finished with it, Prabhupada wrote on a piece of paper the mantra, Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane. No, not that. Namo Mahabharanyaya, no. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Which means I offer my obeisances to Govinda, Krishna. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. He's the Lord of the Brahmanas and the land and the cows. Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. He takes care of them all. Jagat Hitaya. And he's the Lord and Master and Nourisher of the whole universe. So unto that Krishna, I offer my Govindaya Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to that Govinda. So Prabhupada hung that over his altar that he would offer his bhoga at, and he would say his mantras, and he would cut up this fruit and offer it in this simulated wooden bowl, and then he would have Brahmananda, who was the first temple president, bring that bowl down, and then after Prabhupada's lecture, he would have the second kirtan, and then after the second kirtan, he would have one of the devotees distribute these little cut-up pieces. Oh my God, and sometimes he would cut up the apple right on the Vyasasana at 26 Second Avenue, and so he would cut the apples and like throw the parts that weren't usable, like the pits part and the stem part, he would just like throw it. So spontaneous. And then Brahmananda would go around with a like a little straw thing to collect donations after the class. And then after I finished the Sankirtan painting, Prabhupada had it hung in the temple room. And he told me, you should flood the world with these paintings. And then he left. I'm just like really being brief and summary, because our time is short and because it's unlimited. Prabhupada's activities are unlimited. So, so the painting was hung. Let's say here's Prabhupada, and the painting was hung on this wall. And then Prabhupada wanted an altar underneath the painting. So in those days we couldn't conceive of Prabhupada's greatness and purity and how pure everything has to be, plus we didn't have any money. So they got this second-hand table off the streets and put some nice covering on it as the altar. And then when Prabhupada came back from, well, already this is my third painting now of the Panchatattva. That is Mahaprabhu standing with his four associates, Nityananda, Advaita, Srivas, and Gadadhar, Pandit Prabhu. I forget which one was over the side altar. And when he came back from San Francisco, he had Govindadasi, who was also an artist that he became his disciple when he opened up his second temple in San Francisco. Is this making any sense? I'm just rambling on. It sounds developmental a little bit. So then, when she and her husband came back with Prabhupada from San Francisco, he had her teach us how to do the beginnings of Arati, which is also how in the Indians, both in India and the West, also do Arati. Like one person will offer all the Arati paraphernalia, you know, the incense and the flower and the handkerchief, but then everybody else would take turns with this big tray and a votive candle and go like this with a big tray. So Prabhupada had Govindadasi teach us how to do that in front of the painting of Sankirtan. So in the evenings, after the kirtan, Prabhupada would have the second kirtan, give the class, and then do the second kirtan. And during the second kirtan, some devotees were dancing in a circle in front of Prabhupada. And behind that, the rest of the devotees, some would be sitting, and then gradually everybody took their turn standing up and waiting on line, as they do in Indian houses, and offering the arati. So everybody learned how to participate a little bit in that. And still the drone was there. And right from the beginning, Prabhupada was giving classes on very scholarly, with tons of Sanskrit, even though we were all just a bunch of really drugged out, or just ex-drugged out hippies. So, and a lot of the devotees in the morning, they would take these like gray blankets and put it over their heads like a teepee during the class even. But Prabhupada had his big reel-to-reel tape recorder, and he knew that he was speaking for posterity, so that now all of you, who most of you never met him, so you're all able to hear those same 1966 classes because of Prabhupada's brilliance. Even though many of the devotees who were sitting there left after some time, he knew that he was speaking to the planet of people who would take birth later. So Prabhupada would speak about, for example, what is the meaning of Bhagavan? Because Krishna is Bhagavan. So Bhaga means fortune or opulence, and Vine Van means one who possesses